let's go straight to Washington now, where Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been meeting with President Donald Trump. And she is now with some reporters. Of course, she won the Nobel Peace Prize, and she has offered to share that award with President Trump. Our correspondent, James Matthews, has been asking her some questions about that. Let's have a listen.
Maria, did you offer to President Trump your Nobel Peace Prize?
I presented the President of the United States the medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, and I told him this. Listen to this. 200 years ago, General Lafayette gave Simón Bolívar a medal with George Washington face on it. Bolívar since then kept that medal for the rest of his life. Actually, when you see his portraits, you can see the medal there. And it was given by General Lafayette as a sign of the brotherhood between the United States, the people of the United States and the people of Venezuela in their fight for freedom against tyranny. And 200 years in history, the people of Bolívar are giving back to the heir of Washington a medal, in this case a medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, as a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom.
Is it his now? Is it his now?
En español,
No.
en español.
Okay, lo voy a decir.
Maria,
Spanish, please.
did he accept it? Did he accept it, Maria? Maria, did he accept it?
Miren, le decía al presidente Trump que hace 200 años el general Lafayette le entregó a Simón Bolívar una medalla con la cara del presidente George Washington. Y desde entonces Simón Bolívar nunca la dejó, hasta el día de su muerte. Justo 200 años después.
I need to move, please. Give me 1 second, please.
Just give us
we're
one.
leaving.
You're looking at live images of the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, who has arrived at the White House. She was welcomed earlier by President Donald Trump, and you can see that media scrum surrounded by journalists who are asking her all sorts of questions. You heard there from our James Matthews, who asked her about the Nobel Peace Prize. Of course, she won the Nobel Peace Prize, and she's offered to share the award with President Trump. And our James Matthews asked about that. She said she presented the Nobel Peace Prize to the president, but she didn't take his follow-up question, which was, did he accept the prize? So no doubt we'll hear from Donald Trump about whether he's accepted that prize or not from the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. Her trip there to Washington comes just days after US forces captured the former president, Nicolas Maduro, who was whisked away to New York and taken to court, where he's believed to reappear in March when his trial will begin. But let's just have a listen into the press who have surrounded Maria Corina Machado. We can hear them singing. Let's just have a little
Guys,
listen.
get out of the road! Make a hole, get on the sidewalk!
Get on the sidewalk! Move!
Como siempre, todos la amamos.
Me dijo que le fue bien en ambas reuniones.
Makes her way through the scrum there of reporters that you can see there, our camera capturing that moment of her just making her way through security forces, trying to weave her through that crowd. She's trying to make her way to a live point where she will address reporters, journalists, but the Venezuelan opposition leader arrived in Washington to meet with the US President Donald Trump. There's been a lot of rumors in the last few weeks since the president, Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president, was taken from Caracas and whisked away to New York, where he arrived in court and the beginning of his trial. We understand he will reappear in court in March, and it is going to be an incredibly long trial. You're seeing Maria Corina Machado there getting inside that vehicle to make her way to the live point where she will be speaking to reporters. But just a sense of the popularity there of all those crowds, journalists from around the world surrounding her vehicle, trying to get a glimpse of the Nobel Peace Prize winner and opposition leader of Venezuela, who has arrived in the White House to meet with Donald Trump. We've just got our James Matthews there. And James, can you hear me? James, can you hear me? James, it's Yalda back here in the studio. Can you hear me?
I don't know if you saw those chaotic scenes, Yalda. That was Maria Corina Machado leaving Capitol Hill, having met a number of senators. It was something of a media scrum, and you can see it there as she stops at a red light. The drill there, or the routine, was to be a news conference on the grass outside Capitol Hill, but as you'll see, she got rather waylaid and is surrounded by members of the media and certainly members of the exiled Venezuelan community who have come to see the woman they hope will lead them and their country back towards a liberal democracy. That's what this has all been about for her today, meeting Donald Trump, to hear news she will not have wanted to hear. He retains the position that she's not tough enough, is not the woman to lead Venezuela. She heard him say yesterday he had a terrific, or she had a conversation with Delcy Rodriguez, now acting up in place of Nicolas Maduro. He called her a terrific person. There will be a concern that Machado is being frozen out of the future of Venezuela, and she clearly came here on a charm offensive. You heard her there answering my question. It appears that she did indeed give him her Nobel Peace Prize medal. That's what she said. Didn't quite clarify whether or not he accepted it, whether it remains in his possession. But if it does, that will be a controversy, particularly for the Nobel Peace Committee. But clearly, she came here looking for reassurance, I think, that her country has a future ahead of it that evolves towards a liberal democracy, and that she will play a part in that. Remember, in last year's elections, she was seen to have been the clear winner, the legitimate winner, or to have led her movement towards victory, but she was sidelined by the dictator Maduro. Donald Trump right now seems quite comfortable in the company of the politicians and the colleagues that Maduro left behind. Like-minded politicians continuing to run the country, at least in the short term, along similar lines. That will be the fear of these Venezuelan exiles here, that nothing changes, that Donald Trump wants to get his hands on Venezuelan oil and is less concerned about the politics.
Yeah, James, I hope you can hear me now. But, you know, you talked there about the concern that she would somehow be left behind. She's now appeared in Washington just a week and a half or so after Nicolas Maduro was snatched from Caracas. And then there was this feeling that Donald Trump was sidelining her and the opposition, that there'd been a rift between her and the Trump administration. But her arriving there sends quite an interesting signal and message to the Venezuelans there, and of course to all the Venezuelan watchers who are waiting to see what happens next. But it appears that we have lost James Matthews, and only James Matthews could make his way through that scrum, ask her a question, come out the other end and speak to us live, even though he couldn't hear a word I was saying. But you're looking at those images from a little bit earlier of Maria Corina Machado, the Venezuelan opposition leader and also the Nobel Peace Prize winner, who is now in Washington. She's met with Donald Trump and she was surrounded there by supporters who were trying to take selfies and images of her as she tried to make her way to the press. I do believe James is back. James, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Yalda, I can hear you now.
You know, only you, James, I was saying, could come through, emerge from that crowd in front of a camera after asking her perhaps what is the first question about the Nobel Peace Prize. Just talk me through, I mean, we're looking at these pictures, but she was supposed to make her way through, well, not even through that crowd, but to the live point where she was supposed to address the press. But you know, obviously she's clearly very popular with those supporters who were there to meet her, as well as the world's press who were aware that she was going to be there today.
Yeah, the choreography was rather messy, Yalda. You will have guessed that. Myself and Michael Hurd, our cameraman, eventually burrowed our way into where she was. She came out the Capitol building, having met the senators. The script was that she was going to come to a grassy area about 50 yards away. Everybody was set up. There were barriers in between. We saw her coming out the door and there was a small knot of press and exiled Venezuelans who have been gathering here today. They descended on her and it became something of a scrum. They got trapped against barriers. And, you know, her security were unable to move her, which is when we relocated. You know, I don't know if you heard, I couldn't hear you, I don't know if you heard me in the past couple of minutes just chatting about why she was here, her seeking reassurance from Donald Trump. I think that's why she has come here, to seek reassurance that she has a part to play and a role in the future of Venezuela. She looks at a situation where Maduro's been captured, but those he left behind, colleagues of a similar political persuasion, are in charge, and Donald Trump appears to be happy with them. He speaks of a phone conversation with Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's mini-me, calls her a terrific person, seems quite content with the way that things are going, certainly in the short term. I think what Machado came here for is a reassurance that her country will evolve towards a liberal democracy and that her politics, the politics that won that last election in Venezuela, although she was sidelined, she has sought assurances here that America will seek to steer the country towards that kind of political evolution. I don't think she's got it in the short term. We heard Caroline Levitt saying that Trump is still of a similar mind, that she is not the person to lead Venezuela at the moment. That will concern her, and she's clearly been here on a charm offensive because she has given him, she said she gave him, the Nobel Peace Prize. Quite what he's done with that, we didn't quite get the answer to that, Yalda, but we will find out in due course. Whether that lands a result for Machado, who knows, but she's certainly trying to push all the buttons with the American president, trying to make sure that he's got the Venezuelan politics in mind, beyond access to Venezuelan oil reserves.
James, thanks so much for giving us that very close glimpse of how to get through a scrum, ask a question, come out the other end and do a live. We could hear you throughout. Thank you so much.